Hey guys, how's it going? My name's Juliette. I'm Miss Hong Kong 2017. Super happy to be here to be part of this feature. I think right now is the time to talk about, if anything, is the time to talk about things that have been going on. It's time to make a change, use a voice, and really be part of something that's going to be historical down the line of our society. So I'm very fortunate to live in a place, in a city that's very diverse. You know, Toronto is very accepting. However, did grow up in Hong Kong, and when I was there, I have felt discrimination as a kid growing up in a French school, being the only Chinese kid in French immersion and whatnot. But that didn't stop me. You know, it was tough to keep up. Also, there was the language thing, but even after coming back to Toronto, I did feel a lot of discrimination in the sense where language is really a factor that does show people whether you are from a country or not. But the type of discrimination that I experience isn't to a physical level. I'm always grateful for that, but even so speaking, that shouldn't be accepted, that I even feel discrimination. And that is something that I think is hard for a lot of Asian Americans to talk about, because typically we're just kind of like, oh, whatever, that happens, life's like that. The type of discrimination that I felt, that I feel growing up, has never really been talked about, because us Asian Americans are always kind of just accepting. We're not the type to really voice things, and I think that has to change. I think that a lot of that discrimination and insecurity when you're living in a country where you're not the majority, Asian people living in North America, we tend to feel insecure, and that has to do a lot with confidence and you as a person and believing yourself and all that kind of stuff. And that's right up my alley, since you know, I competed in a pageantry where I grew up both in Hong Kong and Toronto, and people not accepting who I am as a person. Like growing up, I grew up in a French school, so not being able to speak proper French, I was discriminated by that. And coming back to Canada, even my English wasn't so good because I grew up with French. I was discriminated by people who thought that I wasn't from Hong Kong, which is unfortunate because though I'm fully Chinese. And then people thinking that I'm not from Canada, a country where I was born in. So it's just a lot of these types of issue. I think we should take a step back. To make a change, we really gotta be aware of that. We as society should step back and not be so quick to judge people where they're from based on their looks, based on their language. Like I said, for me, it wasn't really that bad because I've always known who I was. I've always been confident about myself. I think that's something that people should know, that they're worth it, that you know yourself, and that you shouldn't be judged by others and whatnot, as long as you continue doing your thing, working hard, doing what's best for you. I think that's something that's really important that we should remember when we're facing discrimination. So lockdown has affected so many people. I think all of us was given time to work on things that we've always wanted to work on. And I know that's a cliche thing, but it's true. I was able to revamp my website, to focus more on my coaching business. I was able to really even start an autobiography, which is something that I've wanted to do for a very long time. Not just about the pageantry, but for everything, for talking about growing up in Hong Kong, growing up in a French school, growing up in Canada, and just always moving. My family moved a lot, so my social life was all over the place. You know, I was always constantly trying to fit in and stuff like that, which is funny now because now I find it easy to fit in. But before, when I was a kid growing up, I always had trouble fitting in. So I hope to share my experiences and everything, all the bad experiences, especially with the world. So that's what's been going on. How COVID has also negatively affected my life is probably not being able to see my friends who are my family. You know, I don't live close to my actual family. My immediate family is all over the world, all over the place. And so it's just hard not to see my friends because they're my family. And I'm so sick of these virtual meetups. I really hope that together we can stay home, we can lower those numbers, we can work together to live in a safer society and a healthy society. You know, stay home, be safe, contribute when you can, help if you can, and if you can't, just be aware. That's the minimum we can do as a society, which is to share information, real facts, educating people of our cultural backgrounds, our cultural differences, and also being able to share our experiences in a positive way. Don't force people to accept something that they're not ready to accept. Tell them, educate them, but don't force it, because that's not how change happens. Change happens within, and I think that that's something people should know, that it should be motivated within and not motivated externally as well, and that takes time. Change is hard, change is not going to come easy, but it is something that needs to happen, and as long as it's happening and that we're there all together to fight it, then change is always going to be for good. And I think people tend to forget that change is only happening on one side. No, that's not how it works. Change is good for all parties. Every time we impose a law, we're hoping that it's a law that is inclusive, that is equal, that is fair, that includes all parties and considers all parties or ethnicity or whatever the matter is. So change is happening, change is now, change is for tomorrow, and change will be difficult, but we must persist. And yeah. So remember to be patient and be kind. And that's all I can say. And love yourself. Be safe, everyone. Thank you so much for having me.